Welcome to Blitz on Windstream Channel 4. I'm your host, Brian Carter. Today's show, we have interviews, highlights, the player of the week, and much more. But we're going to start the show here at Lumpkin County High School with Lady Indians softball coach Alma Arnold. Coach, thank you so much for being with us on the show, and we're glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Coach, this is your first year as the head coach, your third year at the school. But this team is a team that made the 3A state playoffs a year ago, and this is, again, your first year as head coach. Do you feel any added pressure taking over this program, trying to get the girls back to that again?
I guess somewhat. It's more that just the expectations there. So it's a good expectation to have. I mean, when you have players playing at that level, that's an awesome thing. And just, to sustain this program and make sure that, we're still meeting that expectation year after year is a good thing, And so I'm excited to try and make it happen.
Now, as soon as you found out that you were going to take over the softball program, what was your initial reaction when looking at how the program, obviously the success comes to mind that they've had recently, but looking at the program overall, what was your reaction to that and the talent that you were taking in?
I was so excited because the girls are very talented. I mean, they all come with a great, skill set that they have in their own right. So, it's really nice to actually get to work with players that have something to bring to the table first and then really see what we can do just to make them better as individuals and then also as a team too.
Now, this gives us a chance just to break down your roster a little bit. Talk a little about the girls on the team, not so much up and down the roster, but who are the impact players to watch this year, some of the senior leaders, and who can we expect to shine for the Lady Indians this year?
Well, we've got 6 seniors on the roster, so obviously we're looking for all of them to contribute. They each have their own ways that they're contributing. We've got Frankie Walls at shortstop, Anchor in the infield, and Jessie Barrett's over at right field. First base, not right field. Where'd that come from? Over at first base for us in the infield, and both of them have been doing a great job, at the plate and really anchoring our offensive power too. In the outfield, we've got Shannon Nothorf and Rihanna Ray and Courtney Dyer, and they all, again, have been really productive at the plate for us. So that's been awesome. Some of the younger girls that have been contributing, we got Ashley Brown, who stepped on the mound. She's a freshman pitcher who's been holding her own really well. Really excited about how she's progressing and what she's doing for us. And a couple other people, but...
Now, you played a couple of tough games so far on the schedule. Union County, they're number 6 in the state in 2A softball in the latest coaches poll. That's a tough game. And then also White County, who's in your region, but they're always a tough contender for state contention. Both those teams, you played pretty well, and you kept yourself in the game and gave yourself a chance to win. When you play in games like those, does it give you a good idea where your team stands?
Yes and no. I mean, we played them early enough in the season that, we're still working out bugs and kinks and things like that too, and maybe our bats haven't quite, got up to where we want them by the end of the season. But, I mean, just to stay in ball games like that when, a lot of their other competitors are being blown out is a good feeling for us. And the fact that, we know we're going to see both of them again later in the season to, measure ourselves again after that's good to know too.
Now, the weather has kind of been a pain for your team so far this year. Early on, there was a lot of rain. It washed out quite a bit of the games for a lot of teams across the state and a lot of the opening tournaments. So I think at this point, you probably lost 3 to 4 games on your schedule. Not sure if you plan on making those up or not at this point. But how do you feel the weather may have impacted your team, maybe impacted their progression so far?
I'm not sure it really impacted their progression as much. It was more just, it would have been nice to get everybody some playing time in some non-region games before we actually hit the heart of our schedule. So it really affected me more as a coach because I wanted to see, some other people play in different places before we really settled into, a lineup that we felt good about. So I think they were just fine, other than not getting to play those 3 games. But progression-wise, I'm not sure that it really did anything hindrance-wise for them.
Well, Coach Arnold, thank you so much for being on Blitz today. We appreciate having you on here and hopefully see you play late into the season this year.
Great. Thank you.
Now, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to have a couple of the Lady Indians softball seniors. We got Jessie Barrett and also Frankie Walls coming up next on Blitz.